This is going to be a very hard video for me to do. It was on the news, so I figured what the heck. And it's something that never gets talked about. I did a little research and it's really not talked about at all. It comes with all kinds of emotions like shame, guilt, defeat, frustration, sadness, and all of the above. And the question is, where do I begin? It's been about 3 days since I recorded this video, and I'm not feeling much different about it. In the future, maybe I'll feel different, but today I'm sharing it with you. I haven't talked a lot about my kids because I felt like it was probably not the right thing to do, because it's my personal choice to be on YouTube, and this is about me, but it also involves my youngest son. For those of you that watched me in the past know that I had a toxic marriage. Of course, my kids were part of that. My youngest son got into the drugs, and when I was doing my videos before, he was clean. He had 10 years of sobriety, and in the last couple of years, he has relapsed. We felt he had relapsed, but didn't know for sure. Well, now we do, because last week, he was picked up for driving under suspension, and there was paraphernalia found in his car. I was driving by doing an Uber ride, if you can believe that. This isn't really that small of a town, so the odds are pretty crazy. He went to jail, and I took his car home and put his personal belongings in my garage. He got out in a couple of days, and he came to retrieve his belongings. Of course, as a mother, I'm like, you don't have a driver's license. What are you going to do? Blah, 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 blah. Please talk to me. I'm trying to get him to calm down and talk to me, but he refused to do that. I also have been storing his motorcycle in my garage for the winter. Now, mind you, he's 31 years old, and I haven't seen him since February. He lost his job after he broke up with his girlfriend. I'm not going to get into all the big drama, but he refuses to go back to work. I think he's been doing some DoorDash and such. He attempted to live in his car this winter. I don't know what he's been doing, because he's an adult and it's really none of my business. I've been trying to stay in contact with him, but he's been avoiding the whole family. That's why we were suspicious. But he hasn't made any payments on his car or his motorcycle. That's why he got pulled over, because his tabs were expired and his driving with no insurance, and his license was suspended because he hadn't shown proof of insurance. His motorcycle also. How anybody can keep these things and they hadn't been repossessed all this time, I don't know. But here again, not my business. And I emptied his belongings out of it because I didn't know if the car would get towed being parked on the street. When he got out of jail, he came to my house and wanted his stuff, and was huffing back and forth, taking this stuff back to his car as I'm trying to talk to him. The person that he bought the motorcycle from had offered to buy it back, depending on how much the loan was, or how much he, depending on what he owed on the loan. I was trying to help him get out from underneath that. I happened to mention that to him. Anyways, things escalated. He put his fist up, and I dared him and told him that he better never come around there again. What he ended up doing is picking me up and body slamming me, breaking my collarbone, bruising my rib and my hip. And I must have hit something here, but I woke up to the ambulance and everything, and you know how head bleeds are. I have a little puncture wound back here, but it hurts like straight across here, so I must have hit. But everything hit at such a force along my whole side that it's just mind-blowing to me. But he did go back to jail. I could have never done a video like this when he was going through this the first time, As I've mentioned, I'm a little codependent, and I was a very big enabler back then, not understanding what enabling meant. And of course, you go through the whole bad parent feeling, how you contributed to this, blah, 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 blah. I think what I want to impress upon parents that are going through this now is this time was different. He was older, number one. Number two, I didn't enable him. Any little bit of help that I did give him, which amounted to paying for his storage unit, putting a starter in his car, allowing him to stay with me for a few weeks, that kind of thing. But I drew the line on certain things that I wasn't willing to allow him to get away with. Therefore, he felt a lot of anger towards me. What I'm trying to say is when I chose to do something for him, I consciously made the choice that this is what I'm going to do for him, and I'm not going to do any more than this. And I made it very clear to him, this is the line in the sand. If you don't do this, I'm not going to do that, period. And so the guilt is not as overpowering this time. The guilt of not being a good parent is not something that I'm dealing with this time, because I do know that I did the best that I could, still allowing him to make his own choices. And that's exactly what this is. He is responsible for himself. He made these choices. He made his own bed. You can't just help them continue to hurt themselves. And I get to write a letter to the judge telling him what I think his punishment should be. So I guess our feeling as parents was that if he is doing them, eventually it would come to a head, or he would kill himself. That's just the harsh reality that you have to accept, especially with the drugs that they've got going on nowadays. The things that they're doing, it's everywhere. It's awful. And how we can't get a handle on this, I do not understand. When I was growing up, it was just say no to drugs. It was very simply put. And I know that we say that to these kids now, but what I don't understand is young, old, whatever, who was ever trying these, why are they doing that? Why are they trying them? Why are they so readily available? Portland, Oregon made it legal. What were they thinking? Every drug addict in the country tried to make their way over there so they couldn't get in trouble. They're handing out needles. They're handing out swabs. It's horrific. How do they think that that is enabling? I don't care if they're your own child, your husband, your boyfriend, your best friend. You have a line, draw it. You can't feel sorry for people who are ruining their own life. Although I'm very sad that he has chosen to do this to himself. The last thing that I said to him is, I love you. I just want you to get your life together. That's all I want. And if it means that I have to break my collarbone for that to happen, then it's worth it. I don't know how he didn't respond to me. I don't know how else to put it to him. As a parent, I am heartbroken. As a citizen of this country, I'm angry. I'm angry that we haven't done anything about this. We let them out of jail. Our jails are overflowing. And honestly, I don't believe that it's necessarily that we're not trying to help them through counseling or whatever. I do know that the punishments aren't severe enough, number one. Number two, it's all because our family system has broken down. Broken homes, broken families, people are hurt, people are traumatized, people are abused, people don't know how to handle these issues, people are immature, people haven't grown up, people aren't living in reality, people haven't woken up. People do not know how to handle their own problems. People feel like, oh, it couldn't happen to me. I picked a guy up that was from LA, a few days ago, and he said, walking down the street in LA, there was so many homeless people and so many syringes and needles on the street and poo. People are just pulling down their pants and crapping on the street. He had to leave. He had to get out of there. People are leaving the state because it's so bad. He said San Francisco is like a ghost town because of the crime and the drugs and the this and the that it's a ghost town. Businesses have left. People with any means are leaving such a beautiful state. I'm sure they don't want to leave, but they don't feel like they have a choice. We can't keep running. We have to face this stuff. We have to start looking at what's important. We have to get back to the basics. The basics being the family dynamic. What's important? What are our values? What are our goals? We have to become emotionally and mentally healthy again, or we're going to keep having problems. And this generational trauma will keep growing and building and creating more criminals and more drug addicts and more of everything that we don't want. I don't know very many families that haven't been impacted in one way or another by the drugs that are flowing around this country. I hope that makes sense.